Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. It's perfume review day and I have a sample, little miniature thing of I think 2 milliliters. Yeah, 2 milliliter eau de parfum from Louis Vuitton from their exclusive range, only available in the Louis Vuitton boutiques. You know I ain't purchasing anything new for 2017, so fragrance is included, but my essays from time to time just like give me these if I pass by on occasion. They're really sweet. And today's fragrance review is for matière noire, so the black matter. Ooh, sounds super spooky, matches the look, the feel, and the vibe of our present times. Does the fragrance match the black matter of the title of it? We're going to have to wait and see. Sprayed it here already 1 hour ago, so I have the dry down on this hand, and we're going to open this little tiny box package. We have the little spray vial there, so we're going to spray it here as fresh, kind of as a top note. Matière noire. Okay, I hope I pronounced it right. Okay. Now, remember, for those of you who don't remember, but or for those of you who do remember, I did make a video on using terminology such as, oh, this smells like an old woman, this smells like an old man, and how I really don't agree with that sort of terminology, and we have to change our vocabulary because it can be very degrading, and 99% of the times it's used inappropriately. At this point of the game, I should say something like however. There is no however and there's no exception. Except, no, there is no exception, I just don't know how to put it, but this fragrance to me, even though it came out in 2016, and even though when we read the description of the fragrance, it tells us that, you know, Louis Vuitton spent 4 years. It took over 4 years in the making, not just to create these first 7 fragrances for the Maison that were all launched in September 2016, but what was I going to say? So, okay, so we have these 7 fragrances. It took them 4 years, not just to, you know, create the fragrances, but also to kind of relaunch the whole Louis Vuitton, I guess, perfume house factory fragrance research lab or whatever, because like they have their own, they say that they use their own laboratories to create all of these fragrances, and they have like some fields in Grasse, just like Chanel does, to have their own flowers, and they have also developed their own kind of chemical ingredient to emphasize a certain smell of a rose. So there's a lot of work that went into it. At least that's how the marketing is selling it to us. Nevertheless, the actual fragrances that come out, yes, we do smell the roses a lot in each and every one of them until now, and I've done 3. I've done 2 full reviews. You could watch them, and this is the 3rd one. And nevertheless, and we're not going to use the word old, but we're going to use the word dated. They smell very dated, and not dated in the terminology of ancient as juxtaposed to young, fresh, and new, but dated in the terminology of not a fragrance that I would consider purchasing, because, and I've said this also about the other 2 that I've reviewed, they have this tendency of smelling like almost like a potpourri that you would use, you know, they would get in Macy's or Bloomingdale's and that you would use in your wardrobe. There's something very basic about it in that direction, not groundbreaking at all. Not even too comforting, because despite the fact that they do say there's a lot of natural ingredients, I smell artificiality in there. There's something in there that annoys me. Now, let's get to the actual notes of this one, because by most people that have tried all 7 of them, Matière Noire, or the black matter or organ or whatever, is considered to be, by many, the best rendition of the 7 of a fragrance from 2016. And it is fascinating because one of my favorite flowers, if not the favorite flower, when it comes just to like naturally encountering it in the forest in its wild state, is the cyclamen, Ciclamino, as you would call it also. And I adore it. It's in here. Even though it's listed in the middle notes, I smell it from the beginning. And that's the part of that reminds me of my childhood and of kind of going through the woods and picking these really tiny cyclamines. They're so, so cute, and the color is gorgeous. This is beautiful, beautiful, like kind of shade of pink going from a light hue to a darker hue. And the smell is amazing. The wild ones. Then you have the ones you could just buy for your home. They're a bit bigger. They're beautiful to see, but they don't have a smell. And I sense them out in the top notes already, even though they're listed in the middle notes. They're gone in the dry down. Actually, the entire fragrance after an hour kind of starts mellowing down, even though we're talking about an eau de parfum, and it mellows down in a way that you basically almost don't sense it anymore in your skin. So longevity is lacking. Projection is fine in the beginning, but later on, not so good. Really, not really there. Okay, so anyway, top notes, we got watery notes, whatever that means. Black currant syrup. Then we got middle notes, rose, jasmine, sambac, narcissus, and the cyclamine. And then we got base notes, the base notes being benzoin, incense, patchouli, and agarwood, oud. It is said that for an oud fragrance, or for an oud-containing fragrance, this one has a softer type of oud, not as in-your-face, plastered all over the place, Oud Ispahan from the Christian Dior Privé line. Nevertheless, you know, I always say I hunt down my fragrances and the good quality ones. I recognize them by their dry down. And I really don't want to hate on Louis Vuitton. And you know I love my Louis Vuitton. I love their bags. I love their heritage. I love their tradition. It hurts me to have to say this. The dry down isn't good. It just isn't good, you know. The opening, it's almost fabulous. It smells very wannabe niche, powdery. There's the rose in there. There's the jasmine in there. The cyclamen, as I said, is there. And you already sense kind of the benzoin blending in with the oud. And it all mixes up to something that I've smelled so many times in the niche world. So I ask myself, okay, Louis Vuitton, how do you justify the high price point? Like, what are you giving me except for the logo that would warrant a purchase? Because we in the bunker, we know fragrances. We know, it doesn't matter if they are famous or not famous fragrances, but we know compositions in the term of, okay, this is groundbreaking, or okay, this is a troubling, puzzling, you know, we're not afraid of troubling and puzzling fragrances. We're not afraid of something that gives us a lot of, you know, thought to process. We actually embrace that. We embrace the complications, the drama of it all, because it makes us think. A fragrance like this one doesn't really make me think. It's kind of conservatively pleasing, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. The best thing about this fragrance is its title, is its name, but the actual contents, it's like now it has a touch of butter on top of the oud. There's butter, and in the butter we've kind of crushed the petals and the essence of the rose together, and then we sprinkled it with cyclamines on top. And that butter kind of mixed with the juices of the flowers creates a watery consistency, and that watery consistency is what kind of seems to be the water top notes. What do they call them? Watery notes. Jacques Cavalier Beltrude is the nose behind this fragrance, is the nose behind all 7 of them. And I do kind of, now that there's the 3rd fragrance on my channel reviewed from Louis Vuitton, I'm noticing a pattern, I'm noticing a leitmotif, I'm noticing kind of a recurrent need for a rose that is coming from a past, far, far away. But, and I know there's a lot of lovers of Louis Vuitton out there, and I know that you hate me so much when I don't kind of deliver a 100% positive review of a Louis Vuitton product, but I just can't. This isn't good, guys. Like in the way it should be good for the price and for the brand. So what I was saying, the type of rose, and this is why I'm going to explain why you should not hate on me, hating on the perfume. I ain't hating on the perfume. I'm just like dissecting it. But whatever. Do whatever you want. If you want to hate. Go ahead. Be my guest. But the rose is a very, and this is the leitmotif in the three that I've noticed till now. It kind of wants to be a rose from past times, and the times it wants to depict are times of kind of decadent, rich opulence of traveling, colonial style. As much as I love Agatha Christie and her books and Hercule Poirot and Death on the Nile or Death Under the Sun or Death on the Orient Express, we have that decadence of the bourgeoisie or of the aristocracy. And this fragrance kind of very artificially pushes towards something that isn't there really anymore. But it also gives a contorted picture, to my nose, of what this expensive elegance of aristocracy within, encapsulated within a traveling rose, would smell like if it were an actual still theme today. But it's not. It's obsolete. And obsolete is maybe a refined word, we could use instead of saying, old. And here you have that problem. Old not in the term of human beings' age, but in the terminology of something is in a box. That box hasn't been touched for a long time because we don't need it anymore. We're not really, the contents of that box are irrelevant to our life today. And then somebody finds this box and opens it up, and we see objects in that box that really we do not need. Also, not only are they not practical to us today, but the aesthetics of these pieces, they could be just also mere design pieces. They just do not appeal to us anymore. So we acknowledge their presence, we see that they are there, but we also understand why they haven't been used in such a long time. And we kind of end up closing that box and putting it back where it was. We don't throw it away because it's still a part of something, heritage, whatever. Or if you're a hoarder like me, you have big problems just like, letting go of something. You never know. As a reference point, it's always important to have that box with those mysterious contents in it. But you think to yourself, what am I going to do with this? I mean, the dry down smells cheap. Literally, it's an artificial woodsy dry down that irritates me. I don't wanna. I have to smell it to review it, but even if I warm it up just to kind of sizzle out the notes out, it's just not pleasant to me. I prefer the opening. The opening is more interesting than the dry down. And that rose in that opening, even though it's a rose that's trying to depict the past times of some sort of aristocracy, traveling through the desert with all the Louis Vuitton luggage, you could imagine how beautiful that picture would look like, photographed now, black and white, negative, and then you could kind of color the negative and you could get this kind of technicolor vibe of a used to be black and white photo in color with all those warm hues that we're used to seeing from Louis Vuitton, with Damien Ebene and the afterwards monogram canvas. I get all that. And I get the poetry and this need for this rose. And I get that Mr. Cavalier wanted to create a powerful rose for the Maison, because all of these big houses, these big perfume houses, have their own signature rose scents. Or other flowers. Vanilla, even though we're using kind of the sticks and the roots, it's still a flower, it's still a plant. Dior is famous for its vanilla. Chanel is famous for its rose. Louis Vuitton is trying to do some sort of ancient rose from this fairy tale aristocracy from the past, colonialism and traveling and mystery, but it doesn't deliver. And that's kind of the thing that irritates me the most about it, because I get where it wants to go, but it fails to bring me there. Now, because I use my imagination, I can kind of, I get it, I get hints of it, but I don't fall into this precipice of an imagination, of a dream, of a vision. You know, I don't fully fall into it. But I do understand that they wanted to go there. But if in a perfume review, and you know, guys, when I do perfume reviews, I really kind of, I can't do many of them because I need time between two in order to kind of really get into the right space, the right zone psychologically to deliver them. You know, if I have to say in a perfume review, oh, I kind of get where they're going to or what they're hinting at, that's already a problem for me. A good fragrance doesn't make me say that. Doesn't make me say, oh, I get what they're going for. A really good fragrance makes me say, I'm there. Oh my God, this is that for me, you know? And this one doesn't make me do that. This one makes me say, oh, okay, I get what they wanted to do. So everything is toned down, everything is mellowed down, everything is more in that kind of wannabe direction. And this is really sad for me, because I've noticed that you guys, you know, lately have been complaining about the quality of their canvases, of their glazing, of the leather, of Louis Vuitton. You've been complaining about, you know, the collaborations as of late. I have too. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Supreme collaboration and the Jeff Koons with Louis Vuitton. I mean, I made a video on it. You could check that video out in the description box down below. But I mean, you have also been very, very clear about what your thoughts are on that collaboration. And then, you know, these fragrances came out in 2016, so that's like kind of on top of it all, and we were all looking forward to them. But, you know, and I see it when I pass through Louis Vuitton, you know, the little kind of perfume counters. It's not like there's people standing around there and sniffing all the fragrances and kind of enjoying it. It's usually this little perfume counter, corner, whatever have you, within the boutiques is usually empty. So, I don't know. I would have tried to make less of a sweet, caramelly, pleasant type of recipe for the overall composition, including that special rose that Cavalier, is his name Cavalier? I always forget. Cavalier wanted to implement within the brand. Okay, so deliver a new rose. Deliver some sort of decadent, you know, aristocratic rose. But don't make everything around it pleasant. Don't make everything around it like this candy bar garden, you know, that is just like saying super shyly, like, hey, you know, I want to be a niche fragrance too. Love me. You're Louis Vuitton. I mean, you know, make something that nobody has made before. To me, this doesn't smell like something I haven't smelled before. It smells like a combination of things I've smelled in different places, but the problem is I've smelled all of these things in all the wrong places. Like, you know, the potpourri of artificial fruit flavors and sprayed chemical fruits in the wardrobe. You know what I mean? You get at Macy's and Bloomingdale's, and there's a hint of that. And that ain't good, you know? I would have toned down that oomph of in your face special rose covered by cotton candy in a way, and I would have gone more for arid, dry, almost sickly hues. You know, I would have gone into that mental state of a fragrance where you literally feel matière noire, you know, you feel black matter, you feel a blob of something that's kind of undescribable, and you kind of fall into it and you almost lack breath, and then you figure out, oh, once you're inside you can breathe, you learn to breathe anew. You know, that's the vision I had for black matter. Anyway, guys, that's my review. What can I tell you? Dry down is almost completely gone, and it smells super artificial, and the mid notes here, the cyclamine is what is really the nicest part of this fragrance. And I wish that somebody out there would make just a pure cyclamine kind of essence oil or fragrance. I would love to use that. And perhaps tint it with a little bit of tuberose. in some way, form, or shape. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this review, please do thumb it up and let me know what you thought about it or what you think about this fragrance in particular in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already but do wish to, please subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So no matter how artificial the fragrances are they throw at us, we still stay composed and elegante, and we smell it, and we move on with a smile because we never give up on love. Love you guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye.